Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of this series that we're doing for Lean in Manila. So, we're inviting a lot of our key opinion leaders and experts in different areas to share with you their knowledge about different things. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Wandalyn. So, Wandalyn, hello. Welcome to Lean in Manila.
Thank you, Ginger, for the invite. I'm very blessed to be here.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. I know we have an interesting topic today. And maybe, but before we dive into the topic, no, maybe you can introduce yourself sa ating mga viewers.
Okay, for those of you who don't know me yet, I am Wandalyn Calupig. I actually am a certified public accountant for over 20 years. I've been here in Dubai for more than 14 years now. But
Wow.
I used to
Sorry.
be audit, it's quite a
Mhm.
while. I used to be audit manager for Emirates Airlines here in Dubai. But my burnout led me to coaching and training. So fast forward to today, I actually started my business here in Dubai to help more people, overcome burnout and find more joy and meaning in life.
I love it. So our topic for today, for those who are watching, is really we're gonna talk about burnout, no, and how to manage it. But before that, what inspired you to transition from being like a CPA to becoming a career and life coach? I know that you are right now, right? And also
Yes.
consultant, a very great consultant for professionals and business owners alike. So yeah, what made you do that?
Honestly, I had no intentions in the beginning. It was 2014. I was really, I was always sick. I was stressed. I was looking for
Mhm.
meaning in life. And there's one training, I attended many trainings, to find my own healing, to answer the question, why am I here and why am I meant to do? And in the process of doing that, I started teaching about first mindset because I studied NLP in the Philippines. So I took neuro linguistic programming, and that actually healed me and changed my life 360 degrees. So I was like, why not teach this to other people? Then when I started teaching, one of my students, she ranked second out of top 4,000 examiners in the world. They got their promotions, their babies, they won awards. I mean, everything they wanted, it's like achieved. And I was like, wow, this is so life changing that I wanted to do this already. So, and then I
Mm.
was like, okay, I really, I mean, there's so much joy when you find, the people that you work with achieve whatever they want in life and personally and professionally. So I really told my husband, this is something I want to do for a long time. So I started doing it. I mean, I started training myself how to become a better speaker, how to become a better coach. And fast forward to today, I mean, I've coached business owners, professionals. I mean, I think when you just surrender to how you will be of greater use, Ginger, I think my life has evolved that way. I always make plans, pero when it doesn't happen, because that's a bigger plan for me. So that led me to, and this, I think at 43 now,
Yes.
I've come to the stage in my life that I want to pay it forward because I've
Love
been
it.
through many difficulties. I cannot imagine how I went through all of that. But I'm at this stage now. Why not help other people before me? Because I know every person is suffering and every person is burned out as well.
Yes. I love it because I've seen your posts on LinkedIn. You're very active on LinkedIn. And I always ask myself, how does she do it? She does a lot of things, no? And and it's so interesting to see that it really comes from a place of like wanting to help other people. And I know like a lot of people want naman to help other people, but
Hmm.
I think they're in the path, especially with the topic now, they're in the path that they want to try out a lot of things which lead them to burnout. So
Oh,
what do you see are the top reasons why people are burned out?
that's a good question because I actually am burnout. I mean, I've been through many cycles of burnout in my business and in my career. And I think there are three reasons why we're burnout. Number one, we have so much work. Like when I was working in corporate, when I was working with Intel Philippines, I love my job so much. I mean, even with Emirates, I love my job so much, but it came to a point where I had to sacrifice family time or I have to sacrifice my health because of the work. And humans as we are not human doing, we're human being. So there's too much work that led to more sickness for me until I realized it was a wake up call that wait, I need to find balance. So number one, where there's too much work, when you're always getting stressed and sick, that's already a sign that you're burnt out. So that's one. If there's too much work, that's it. Second, if there's also less work.
Yeah.
So what do I mean? I mean, because we humans have so much potential, right? And if you're working in a job, I mean, you have to do A to Z, but you can also do Z to A backwards, right? But it's never us. I mean, as an audit manager of Emirates Airlines, fine, I'm auditing revenue, operations, expenses, but there's a side of me who's always very optimistic, right? And as an auditor, I have to always find what's wrong. So there was also misalignment in my life there.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
so when
right.
I found a way, there was, when I started trying to, teach others about NLP, I actually had less sleep. I had less rest because I was volunteering on weekends, but I became healthier and happier. So I think it's not also about too much work. It's also sometimes if you have less work and that work does not give meaning to your life. So,
Yeah.
and if you actually think that, burnout is only for people who are working, no. Because if you are also not working, you will have burnout. I mean, I left my career for 2.5 years. I really took a career break, Ginger, if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
That mom's guilt at some level, no money can pay that. And when
Mm-mm.
you had this wake up call that I have to be with my children, I really took a pause. And then during the 2.5 year, I was working as a consultant, which actually led to doubling my income and time off. I
Yeah.
had more time with my children. I also had more time to reflect, in terms of
Mm.
what legacy do I want to leave behind? What do I want to do from here? And that led to so many beginnings for me. So, and I thought burnout is only for if you're working. But when I actually stopped working, I had burnout too, Ginger, because at home, I mean, I've been working for 16 years. Then I stopped and just took care
Yeah.
of the children. And at that point, I was like, parang I was physically tired, but mentally,
Nothing. Yeah.
parang mentally bothered because I had no meaning. Parang ba't
Mm-mm.
gano'n? Parang
True.
I felt that I had no meaning kasi I wasn't earning money, that's one. Second, parang physically tired lang ako pero yung mental brains ko ang dami pang energy.
Yeah.
So I went to extremes naman. So from too much work, I had no work. That
Mm-mm.
so this really always like, balance talaga eh. Too much work, lack of work, that's lead to burnout. And last but not the least is about the lack of meaning in what you do. I
Yeah.
mean, I know as a mother, my role is to be first, and a wife, of course. My role is first to become a best wife, a best mom to my children.
Yeah.
But at top of, a best sister or, child also to my family. But at the core of that pala, what I also found is that every human has a purpose to serve others. And for me, I
Mm.
mean, especially for people, they were thinking, how can you talk like this now, Wanda? Kasi sobrang introvert ako talaga. I mean, if you know me from beginning. So
Oo.
sobrang talaga. I mean, from school,
Yeah.
I will know the answer,
Yeah.
but I will never raise my hand. Ganun ako katahimik. I would just,
Oh.
sobrang low profile talaga ako. But then I also realized na, teka, that burnout din pala was a calling for me to go out. Because yes, I'm serving my family, but I also have a unique calling to serve others.
Mm-mm.
And so for me, ako talaga, I started to, even, sharing my burnout, I would never
Yeah.
have the courage to even share. Kasi ang hirap eh. I mean, the most difficult part of my life was realizing na bakit ganon, hindi ako
Mm.
masaya. Why
Mm.
am I empty? Why am I unhappy despite everything that I have in my life? And I remember praying, Ginger, na, Lord, wag mo na lang akong gisingin tomorrow. So I will not feel the
Wow.
emptiness and unhappiness in my heart. Kasi ang hirap eh, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang
That's true.
nakakapagod. But I also realized a lot of people have that emptiness and unhappiness in their heart.
Mm-mm.
And the most difficult part to accept is that I am not okay. Accepting to yourself that you are not okay.
Yeah.
Kasi it took me a lot. I used to blame my kids na, kaya ako ganito because I'm so tired, diba? At work and at home, I'm blaming the work, the children, everything that, but when I stopped to look into, stop blaming others and started to look at myself na, I remember there was one conversation kasi naapektuhan na lahat yung health ko, yung relationships ko. My husband asked me, are we okay?
Oh, wow.
Kasi nga, I was siguro he can feel that I'm always looking for something at I also don't know, parang retail shopping. Ganyan,
Oo,
punta.
true.
Lagi, I was always dragging him na punta tayo dito, gawin natin to. But he knows me, so he asked me, are we okay? And
Mm.
that moment, I had the courage to say, hindi we are okay, ako yung hindi. So let
Yeah.
me find myself.
So acknowledging, no? Talagang,
Acknowledging talaga. So,
yeah.
talagang doon ako nagsimula na magsobra ng mga OA din ako ng pag-aaral. I mean, I never
Yes.
stopped learning. But
Yes.
also in the process of doing that, I learned a lot about myself. And I also had the courage to speak up. Because
That's
I know
nice.
speaking up is the most difficult thing. Admitting is the most difficult thing. And, if people understand, if Wanda can bravely step up and
Yeah.
say, I'm not okay, and it's okay to accept that.
Mm.
A lot of people message me on LinkedIn privately saying, I read your post, thank you. It helped me survive the day. I mean,
That's nice.
that's
Yeah.
so much, diba? I mean, that is something money cannot buy. So,
Yeah.
yun lang, balik ako doon. I can speak all day, Ginger. Stop mo ako. So,
But you
3 reasons
know,
for
yeah.
burnout: too much work, lack of meaning in what you do.
Yeah, I was thinking of like what you were saying about emptiness. Kasi 'di ba, parang if you're doing things, well, it's normal to feel stress, 'di ba? I mean,
Mm,
there's good stress, 'di ba? And there's
yeah.
bad stress. But it's normal to feel stress. Pero I think that's the additional layer siguro yung pagiging empty, like the feeling of
Mm,
emptiness that actually that's where I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong. Is that when you actually say that you are actually burnt out? If you already feel that, or like how do you distinguish? I mean, siguro as an individual or also as organizations. Now, how do you know when your employee is like stressed for good reasons? I mean, it comes with the job, diba? And with stress, you also develop them. I mean, with challenges, let's call it stress now, but comes with that na yung fear, di ba sabi nga nila, if it's something that you fear, you grow from that, which is
true.
good stress as well. But versus like being over, like burnt out and overwhelmed by
Mm.
everything, yeah.
I think the World Health Organization had a lot of studies about it. They say na you're feeling exhausted. So that's
Mm,
one reason. You're feeling parang
mm-mm.
you are distant from the job. They also talk
Yes.
about, yung parang, actually there's a lot of employees, kaya nga Gallup poll said, di ba, more than 60% of employees are disengaged with their jobs. Kasi nga
Mm,
din, you're there at work, but you're physically present, but you're mentally absent, di ba?
yeah.
So,
Yes,
so
yes.
that itself
True.
also, if you have frequent absences, well, pwedeng you are absent because you're sick, or you're absent because you don't want to go to work. Kasi
Yeah.
a lot of people just use sickness an excuse not to go to work. But in fact, the truth, they really don't want to go at all. They're just looking
Yeah.
for them to be sick, di ba, as a reason. But also, they're valid people, yung na sick talaga. And that's actually one of the reasons. Burnout ka na kasi even if you love what you do, pero lagi kang may sakit, that's already an indicator as well. And
Mm,
if you're not as productive as you are, like ako noon, I sabi ko, I've always loved my job, di ba? But when I started
correct.
to ask myself na, do I still want to do this in the next 1 year or so?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Parang ang sagot is that yes, but more of this. Kasi when you're in a corporate environment, there are some things that you cannot do, right?
Yes.
So, and those boundaries are sometimes preventing you from doing what you want. And so I was like, so why not still, leverage on my knowledge as an accountant in the airline industry as well, and then do something else which I love, training and coaching. So, sobrang naging masaya. Kasi,
Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, nagamit ko kasi
Mm.
auditing skills ko eh. I mean, I can right away when I talk to people, find a problem. Kasi
Mm.
na-audit ko agad yan eh. Kita ko sa energy niya, kita ko
Yes,
sa salita
true.
niya. I mean, so I can, that I think, and I think everything na pinagdaanan ng tao, everything has meaning too. Because sometimes you're thinking na this reinvention is, useless or doesn't make sense. Actually, when I started to approach companies about training, their question on my CV is that, accountant ka, bakit nagsasalita ka? Ba't nagte-training ka?
Mm.
But the good thing about that, whenever there's deliberation, like for example, the Department of Trade and Industry and Central Bank of the Philippines, they had deliberations and accreditations before you become a trainer. I always pass that, ah.
Wow, yeah.
Oo, so kasi nga naiilaban ko yung self ko. I mean, they get
Yes.
to see me. But the problem also sometimes, just because people look at the CV, they right away drop drop mine because they cannot make sense how an accountant can talk about, public
Yeah.
speaking, how an accountant can talk about communication and all. But I think there's so much more that the CV could not say. So
Yes.
you have
True.
to
Yeah.
have the confidence to tell people about who you are and how you can help them. Kasi yun din yun eh. If you don't know who
Yeah.
you are, that's the most difficult part too. And that's, I think, where I was lost. Hindi ko kilala yung sarili ko, Ginger eh. So I was just an audit manager. I
Mm-mm.
was just a wife. I was just a mom. I was just something. Pero at the core of everybody
Yeah.
kasi, meron tayong unique purpose and calling na tayo lang talaga.
Mm-mm.
And thankfully, I was able to
Mm-mm.
find that.
Parang it really is knowing yourself and
Mm.
communicating it with other people. Kasi totoo eh, like if you are like I have my own company and I have employees, if you don't mention or if you don't communicate also like how you're feeling, what do you
Mm.
want, but by communicating kasi it becomes a win-win situation eh. You
True.
contribute more.
Mm.
We also like thrive as a company, diba? And we give you
Yeah.
what you want in essence. No, so it's really that. So I love it because everything that you said, I think it's very applicable, especially like for managers handling teams or for business
Mm.
owners who are handling people. So from there, can you give us like practical steps on how like an individual can manage burnout? And
Mm.
also, in the other side of the spectrum, how do you as a manager or a business owner help people manage naman burnout?
Sige, I'll talk about my personal experience. Shout sa mga clients ko.
Yeah.
Kasi what I've seen, as you rightly said, communication is the key. 80% they said of problems is because of communication. And the problem can be solved through
Yeah.
communication also. So if you are suffering from burnout, first, you need to establish that communication with yourself. Kasi nababurn out tayo because we listen what the doctor tell you to do. Your family, your friends will tell you to do something. But you know what? The best solution is within you. I mean, my clients were able to get this transformation like grief coaching. I mean, I also help people kasi when you suffer grief, talagang it keeps you stuck at some point eh. And I have a lot of business owners and people who I help process the grief. Kasi nagiging success block mo yun eh. It stops you. So nung na-process namin yun, doon na nag-flow uli. And I think first is about knowing yourself. What do I really want? And what's stopping me? What do I feel? What are the blocks, diba? That's stopping me from getting what I want. And then working on that. Kasi talagang the problem that we have is our own and the solution is within us. And you just need a person to help you find it. There's a book called Conversations with God. Yung kay Neil Donald Walsh. What he
Mm-mm.
said there, your role is to remember who you are and remind others who they are. Diba?
Nice.
So,
That's so
ganun yun
nice.
eh. Kasi lahat talaga ng problema mo, sa'yo lang din. Ikaw lang din may gawa. And you need to find the solution within. Kasi kaya nga hindi nag-work yung solution ng iba kasi iba yung sa'yo. And the easiest path is always finding your own. So for me, it's always like about lagi ako nagre-reflect talaga na what is this feeling telling me to do? And what do I want to feel? And what do I need to do next? And sometimes it's only about talking to myself or talking to God or asking help from professionals or asking help from my husband or family members, diba?
Mm-mm.
So, but you need to get clear with yourself muna so you can get the right help, diba?
Yeah.
So, and also kasi it's always about acceptance. Acceptance is very, it's the most difficult, but it's the most rewarding also. Kasi the moment you accepted na I need help, that's the moment you will start to reach out for help from others, right? And that is
Yeah.
also when you will get the right help that you need. Now, for employers naman, I think the challenge with employers is number one, we're dealing with different generations. Sabi
Yeah.
nga nila, from baby boomers to Gen Z to millennials, di ba? Yung manage mo ngayon na workforce.
Mm-mm.
And I think there will always be commonality among all these individuals. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be understood. Everybody wants to be accepted. Tatlo lang lagi yun eh.
Mm-mm.
So why not have the conversation with your people? How are you now? How can I help you?
Okay.
Kasi sometimes, everybody have their own battles at home, which they bring to work. No matter how what you say, boundaries, yeah, fine. Kasi hindi naman natin masiseparate yung personal and professional eh.
Yes.
So, it's about just sometimes just lending an ear and making them know na, how are you? How can I help you? Diba?
Mm-mm.
That means a lot already. And then, kasi sometimes, yung tao, they speak so that they just can talk. But there are also people who speak because they need advice. So, tatanungin mo rin. Kasi sometimes, sana
Mm.
sa ating mga Filipino, over kasi tayo sa advice. Hindi ka pa nga humihingi, di ba? Minsan sa mall,
Nagbibigay na.
nagbibigay na. Minsan, I remember sa Philippines, my daughters find it very weird. Pag umuwi kami sa Philippines, they still remember up to now. Parang,
Mm.
one late day daw, parang they didn't go to school,
Oo.
but so we were in the mall. So somebody approached us daw na, oh, why are your children not in school? Bakit absent sila? Alam mo yon yung,
Yes,
and
we
I remember,
conclude.
nung maliit pa yung bunso ko, nagpunta ako sa mall kasi we had her vaccinated. Tapos kumain ako. And I remember there was one person na approached me, parang,
Mm.
Ning, ang bata pa ng anak mo, muling ka na. Parang, ewan ko pero I mean, I've been through many countries, pero wala
Yes.
namang lumalapit sa akin ng ganon. Siguro
Mm.
sa akin lang, before ka magbigay ng advice, magtanong ka muna.
Yeah.
Tanungin mo, kumusta ka? Pag nagkwento sa'yo, tanungin mo, gusto mong marinig ang opinion ko?
Oo, yes.
Diba? Do you want to hear how will I handle? Kasi even for my daughters, when they have come to me for problems, I don't tell them right away. I will just ask them, do you want to hear what I will do if I were in your situation?
Oh, that's nice.
Kasi
Yeah.
that way, I'm not imposing Kasi tayo ring mga parents, we tend to be, alam mo yun, ito tama. Pero there are many ways to do things kasi. So
True.
I think it's always about asking the right question. As a manager, asking the right question is critical to people management. You ask them, how can I help you? How can I best support you? What? Also have the conversation with your people kasi sila yung bibigay ng feedback sa'yo. How can I become a better manager to you? Right?
Yeah.
What should I do more and what should I stop doing? Kasi I even have these conversations with my children too. Kasi, nagmamanage din ako but these are children. And even my staff, I ask them, what do I need to stop doing to become a better manager to you? Or what are your ideas about the company? The good thing is that actually yung people mo, sila yung magsasabi sa'yo, how can you be better? How the company could be better. Kasi nandun sila So, getting communication flowing without the notion that there's right and there is wrong.
Yes.
Yung sinasabi nilang psychological safety,
Yeah.
Google is actually they said very successful because they have this concept of psychological safety. You're allowed to make mistakes. And it's just about, upuan natin what went wrong and what can we do better next time. So at least, diba, talagang growth mindset kayo. So hindi sila mababurnout una, yung employee mo kasi alam nilang you're not there to punish them when they make mistake, but you are there to grow together when mistakes happen.
Nice. I really hope na yung mga like all of the companies or the managers who are listening no really imbibe this. Kasi I think it's something that is I don't know, like hindi lang naman siguro sa culture natin, but a lot of people really like, okay, kung ito yung tama, if this is the right thing to do, dapat ito yung gawin ninyo, no? So we're very like strict in that sense.
Totoo.
Or,
Culture
diba?
natin yan. Oo.
Diba? Like parang it's not really, so why? What do you think? Like, I'm open to like suggestions or I'm open to being, like, diba? I'm open to you like having a different opinion from mine.
Totoo. It's
So,
narcissism kasi. I think, I never knew na, narcissism pala yun. And actually, what's funny, Ginger? Kasi the narcissism start when you were parented. Kaya nga nakikerry natin siya sa sa
yeah.
corporate. Nakikerry mo siya sa business because the kind of narcissistic leadership started from home. Kasi kahit naman ako nung bata ako, bawal magsalita, si mami lang ang tama. Diba? kaya dapat ganito lang. So lumaki ka na akala mo wala kang voice, lumaki ka na akala mo lagi kang mali. Kasi nga, inside the house,
True.
ganun lagi. Pero, pag nakita mo yung ibang concept na, wait, the best idea should always win. It's not about actually who's older here. Noong simulan namin yung concept na yun sa mga anak ko, doon ko nakita na they were never afraid to make mistake and they were never afraid to express opinion. Kasi sa akin, siguro iba yung parenting ko. I copied what works for me, pero I totally reverse whatever is not. So meaning, kung nung bata ako bawal magsalita, I encourage my children to speak, pero may respect. Yan ang, may boundary syempre. May respect dapat. So, the best idea always wins. Yan ang concept namin. It's not about you're older or you're younger. Hindi ganun.
Yeah.
And siguro, I think, lagi mong babalikan yun eh. As a
It's about
business
respect.
owner,
Yeah.
as a manager, ba't ka ganyan? Kasi you need to heal the inner child within. Kasi kaya ka
Yeah.
ganyan na casting leader because it's the kind of leadership that you
Yeah.
saw from your home. And you need to heal that and to, be comfortable asking people from help, asking people's opinion. Kasi ang totoo niyan, hindi lang ikaw ang tama. There are a million ways to do work. There are a million ways. And if you actually get the best ideas, that's a both win-win for your team, for your organization.
Actually, I love that. Na parang even for the parents who are listening, no, this is
Mm,
something that we should also think of. Like ako, I'm now thinking, no, like that's right. Siguro in situations na parang Zika would need my guidance and help. I'm
mm,
thinking now, what did I say? How did I react? How did I like
mm,
did I blatantly give my direction, or
mm,
did I encourage her to ask me first? What do you think, Mama? 'Di ba? Before I actually say now, oh, Zika, this is what you do, or 'di ba? So that's something to think about as well. So thank you for that. Okay, so for our last question, no, what do you think, Wanda, should maybe like give us tips for individuals, both individuals and people in the workplace? Like how do we foster that environment where people really love what they're doing, they're avoiding burnout, and they're taking that step forward towards their mission, or to their like to that impact that they want to create?
I think, my best advice, if you want to overcome burnout, be the change you want to see in the world, at work and at home. Because the truth now, you have burnout because you're stressed, right? You're stressed because there's an expectation and there's a reality. And we always expect people to perform at this level. Like managers expect their people to be punctual. At first, if you're not punctual, why do you expect that from your people, right? You expect people to change, but you yourself are not changing. Kasi for me, personally, when I change my parenting style, when I change the way I manage my staff, when I change the way I work, everything changes. Eh.
Yeah.
When you understand that when you take 100, when something in your life is not happening the way you want it, and then
Mm.
you take 100% responsibility and ask, why is this happening? What did I do? Diba?
Yes,
For
correct.
this to happen, and then make the shift. Kasi when you shift, nagsishift na rin yung ibang tao eh.
Mm.
Talagang it always starts with yourself, and you will never be burned out because there's nothing and no one can stress you unless you allow it.
Yeah.
I've come to that stage na, okay, kahit pag nag-aaway yung mga anak ko, okay, I will do deep breathing first to calm myself down. At alam na nila yon, they will immediately stop because they know, oh, mommy is already self-regulating. 'Di ba? Similarly, in
I
in
love
my
it. Yeah.
business, if I'm not getting the result that I wanted, I will step back and ask, what am I doing that is not giving me what I wanted, right? Or if that stuff is not
Mm.
performing the way I wanted them, what did I fail to do that person did not perform? Kasi it's
Yeah.
easier that way. Kasi just a circle of control eh. Yun lang ang meron ka talaga, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion, and your reaction. And if you can master that, iba talaga yung level.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. I love it. So thank you so much, Wanda, for gracing us today with your presence. Now, do you want to invite them? Like, do you have anything that you want to share? Like, how can they contact you or reach you if they want to talk to you more?
The best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. So just type Wandalyn Calupig, and I always have my focus really now is helping executives and organizations overcome burnout. So I have coaching sessions for business owners. I do have training. Even if you're a business owner, to sa LinkedIn ka, and then you're burnout also. Then
Yeah.
I will help you optimize your LinkedIn profile so that clients will come and find you. If you're a professional, you're very good at what you do, but nobody knows you. That's also
Yeah.
draining, no? Nakaka-burnout din. I've been to that stage na magaling naman ako, but di ako kilala. But then
True.
also, when I
Yeah.
started showing up on LinkedIn, parang nagkaroon ako mga recognitions na most influential, best career coach, at international yun na. So sabi ko,
Yeah.
yung pala yun. So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
really want to help you if you want to overcome burnout in your organization, in your training sa self mo. Let me help you through training and coaching. Go to Linktree Coach Wanda. And andun lahat yung best ways I can help you.
Yes, thank you so much. We'll put the links in the show notes below so that people can like click on it. Okay, thank you so much. I hope to speak with you again once
Sige, yeah,
soon.
definitely. Thank you, Ginger, for inviting me.
All right, bye-bye.